Hello viewers, welcome to Unacademy. Let's crack management exams. Unacademy is India's largest learning platform and your one-stop shop to get all the ingredients and pedigree needed to crack CAT exam. Today's topic is what it takes to crack CAT. Before going ahead with the topic, let me very briefly introduce myself. I am Arjun Prasad, an engineer with 12 plus years of teaching experience. I have trained more than 6,000 CAT aspirants in the fields of quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, data sufficiency, and logical reasoning, as well as have trained them to crack the personal interviews. I've trained more than 4,000 students to crack the campus recruitment exams. That said, let us get started with today's topic. What it takes to crack CAT exam. Certain facts, myths, and strategy. First, let us understand what is CAT exam. CAT or Common Admission Test is an entrance exam conducted by IIMs to select the candidates into IIMs and other top B schools in India. It is an objective exam. The next question is, does CAT have a syllabus? Some of you may say yes, some may say no, some may say kind of. I will explain after a couple of slides. Now, let us look at one criteria, the most important trait, what is needed to crack any exam or for that matter to excel in life. If there is one trait to excel in life, then what is that? From my experience, I can say that it is reasoning. Reasoning is at the core of being able to improve and increase our knowledge base as well as to excel in life. Now that said, let us go back to the question. Does CAT exam have a syllabus? The right answer, yes, it does have a syllabus. So the next question, if so, then what is the syllabus for CAT exam? If we look at CAT exam at the very top level, we can categorize the CAT exam paper into sections like quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, data sufficiency, logical reasoning, critical reasoning, vocabulary, English vocabulary, English grammar, and English reading comprehension. Okay, these are categories. But what is the syllabus? Is there any fine-grained detail as to this is the syllabus? We'll look at that. If we take a question, quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, and data sufficiency. Let us say quantitative aptitude. It is all about math. Does that mean that they can ask any question in math? Can they ask calculus? Can they ask anything which is of higher level mathematics? No, not so. Because if we reason out better, we will understand that for CAT exam, as far as quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, and data sufficiency are concerned, the syllabus is up to 10th standard mathematics. Up to 10th standard mathematics. For logical reasoning and critical reasoning, it is common sense. No trainer can ever train another individual in logical reasoning. At the max, what we could do is, as trainers, we can help you by providing a direction as to how you can reason, what are the ingredients necessary, how to take a holistic view. But reasoning itself cannot be taught. And as far as vocabulary, grammar, and reading comprehension are concerned, it is all about English language. This said, because reasoning is important, let us reason out simple question. Why only up to 10th standard mathematics? See, every person who attempts CAT exam has to be a graduate. Then why do they limit up to 10th standard mathematics? The common answer that I get is to test the fundamentals or basics. But that is wrong, because if we reason that, then we will end up with an inference, which is IIMs do not trust your certificate. Or if we extrapolate the thought, then we end up with a paradox. IIMs don't trust the system which they themselves are a part of. They do not trust the education system. That, I said, is a common answer, not the correct answer. The correct answer is they test only up to 10th standard mathematics, or they provide questions which can be answered with the concepts up to 10th standard mathematics in the fields of QA, DI, and DS, because management is a multidisciplinary course. What do I mean? You can find people from various different streams coming into the field of management. People from engineering background, arts background, science background, medicine background, law background, people from various different fields enter into the management stream. So to have a level playing field, they ask questions only up to 10th standard mathematics as far as QA, DI, and DS are concerned. Now, from the previous discussion, we know that engineers have an edge over others because they are in touch with mathematics is a myth, because it all takes only concepts up to 10th standard mathematics, which is common to every candidate who attempts CAT exam. Therefore, no person has an edge over others. It's a level playing field as far as the syllabus is concerned. Let us look at a data point which most of the people use to justify that whatever said and done, engineers still have an edge over others. The data point that they cite is almost every year the class composition at every IIM shows that more than 55% of the class is filled with people from engineering background. Okay. Therefore, engineers seem to have an edge over others. No, not necessarily true. A proper reasoning would lead us to the fact that more than 55% of the applicants are from engineering background. So by and large, in the same proportion, they get into the B school as well. It is not that they have an edge. This should not be construed as a demotivating factor for engineers. This should not be considered that way. It is only a fact which is being stated that it's a level playing field, and the myth has been busted out over here. Let us look at the next slide. Some of us may think, why on earth should I solve a question which is this much weird? After all, I'm going to become a manager. Why should I solve such a weird question? Simple example of a weird question is this. A dog ran out of the house at 6 a.m. at a speed of 4 kilometers per hour. Owner noticed that the dog is missing at 8 a.m. and starts chasing the dog immediately at a speed of 6 kilometers per hour. At what time will the owner catch the dog? Now you might think, I am going to become a manager. I am not going to run behind dogs. What is the purpose? What is the use of solving this question? Please understand that the reason behind the question can be understood in hindsight only, not at the time when we are giving the exam. And I can vouch and state that this one question is so important that it helps you make your career in management. Why? Why do I say so? Because as a manager, be it in any field, if you are a program manager, you may have to give a guidance as to 3 months from now, where will the program be? If you are a finance manager, you may have to give a budget statement, a guidance. If you are a project manager, you may have to give a guidance about where the project is going to be 3 months down the line, 3 weeks down the line, whatever, right? So it means you know where you are, you know where you need to be, you know the amount of time. What is it that needs to be calculated? The speed at which we need to run. It is all related to speed, distance traveled, and time taken. Just that over here, we are dealing with only 3 entities. Over there, we may be dealing with 30 entities. Hope I am clear. So, in hindsight, we understand the importance. Okay. In fact, the same concept we would have used unknowingly in our preparation for an exam. We know the date of the exam, which means from now till that date, we know the amount of time that we have. We know how much we are prepared. We know where we need to be, which means we know the distance that must be covered. We know the amount of time. We know the distance that must be covered. Based on this, we calculate how many hours per day should I spend. And this is a common question that is being asked by most of the students. How many hours per day should I spend to be able to crack that exam? It is very much personal, which means it depends on the individual. It depends on the current level of preparation. It depends on what is it that you are aiming for, and based on that, it can be determined how many hours per day one needs to spend. Hope this is clear. Again, let us come back to the same slide about the syllabus for CAT. Now we have understood that why only up to 10th standard mathematics is being asked. Why do they test then about logical reasoning. Okay. For that, let us try and answer this question. What is management? There are many people who have defined management in various different ways. The one that I subscribe to is a statement that was given by a IIM professor at one of the seminars. He just stated, management is common sense which is most uncommon in people. So all we get by going to a good B school is common sense which is most uncommon in people. And it is very, very important. That is why logical reasoning and critical reasoning based questions are being asked. Now, okay, that settles the score as to why only up to 10 standard mathematics, why common sense. Now let us look at English, and maybe specifically let us look at reading comprehension. Now the exam paper setter already understands that the passage can be read and can be comprehended by every candidate who attempts CAT exam, because English is one of the languages that every candidate would have studied. May not be medium of instruction, but definitely it is one of the languages, which means the exam paper setter already knows that the passage can be read and understood. Then what is it that is being tested by asking questions on reading comprehension? Can you think what is being tested with questions on reading comprehension? Given that we already know that the exam paper setter is aware that the candidate can read and comprehend. This is not being tested. What else then is being tested? Common answer is our speed, the individual speed, that is how quickly one can grasp. But some may disagree, but it's known that the reading speed of an individual by and large is a constant. How much ever you read, the more and more you read, it's again a myth that our reading speed improves. However, reading more helps us. In what way? For this, let me take an example and ask simple question. How many of you have read more than one novel? Those of you who have read more than one novel, it can be in any language. If you have read more than one novel, you will be able to relate to what I say. It has been proven that the very first novel that an individual reads, the person pays emphasis to each and every word, each and every sentence. The second, third, fourth novels that the person starts reading, you understand that color of shirt, color of trouser, color of hair does not matter. What is important is the story. What is important is the plot. Therefore, if I am a person who is sitting across and watching you read, I may infer that your reading speed has improved, but your reading speed has not improved. What has improved is the decision making capability to know what is important and what is not important. And that decision making is what is being tested by asking the questions on reading comprehension. Why is that so very important? Decision making is one of the important traits of a manager, because as a manager you will have to take decisions with certain amount of uncertainty. That is why that skill is being tested by asking a question on reading comprehension. And as a manager, every day you may have to go through a huge amount of data. And if we have to go through such a huge amount of data, for every other word, if we start referring to dictionary, God save us. That is the reason that question on vocabulary is being asked. Fine. This settles the score for YRC, Y vocab. But what about grammar? Why do they ask questions on English grammar? Now, let us say I make a statement. Demonetization hurts Indian economy by a couple of percentage points in GDP in the short term. Now, this statement which I am making, no person would pay heed to it. But if the same statement comes from Finance Minister of India or RBI Governor, not only me, but the entire world stands up and takes notice. If I infer that people value Finance Minister and RBI Governor more than they value me, that shows my narrow mindedness. The actual fact is, people take that statement coming from those people more seriously because they understand that those people are people who have a lot more visibility in that context than what I have. Please understand, the content has not changed, but the person who has made the statement has changed. And people are not valuing the person, but people value and understand that there is huge amount of visibility. So whatever is stated in that context by those people would be taken very seriously. As a manager, you will be given some responsibility and you will have an authority over some part. In that context, whatever you say will be taken very seriously. And a small grammatical mistake can change the entire meaning of a statement. For example, I have little money with me means it is stated in a kind of a negative way, which means, take for example, a kid asks parent for a toy, and the parent says, son, I have little money with me, which means the parent is making a subtle message, is sending across a subtle message. I cannot afford this toy now. Just change that statement to this: I have a little money with me. This changes the messaging, which is in a subtle way telling, yes, I have money enough with me, just enough with me to buy the toy. It is in a positive way. So, grammar is important because a small change can make a completely different meaning of the statement. That is why grammar is important, and that is the reason grammar based questions are being asked in CAT exam. That said, what is the summary? What is the point that we get? Never underestimate a question that has appeared or would appear in a competitive exam. Every question that appears in any competitive exam is worth its salt. We would not have enough amount of caliber to question the question that has appeared in the exam. So let us not get into the thought of why should I solve this question. There is a reason behind the question that is being asked. If we think through better, we will be able to decipher the reason behind the question that is being asked. Now, let us look at and reason out with certain facts how CAT exam has evolved. If you look at phase 1, which means, let us say, 70s to mid 90s, it was CAT exam was a test of speed. What do I mean by that? Why do I say so? Because if you look at those question papers from 70s to probably mid to end 90s, you would see that the question paper is made up of approximately 200 questions, with the exam duration being 60 to 90 minutes. And added to that, there was no negative marking at all. So it was just sheer test of speed. Phase 2, which is mid 90s or mid to end 90s to somewhere around 2006, around 2006 time frame. Till that point of time, added to speed, accuracy was also being given the importance. How do we infer that? Because this was the period when negative marking concept was introduced. Okay. What happened later on? In phase 3, that is from mid to end of 2000s till now, if we see, year over year, emphasis on reasoning is getting increased. Why? Clearly, you can see that there is an increase in the exam duration. There is a significant reduction in the number of questions. And from the past few years, there has also been the availability of on-screen calculator, which all show that it is not calculation that is being tested, it is reasoning that's being tested. Nowadays, we just have about 100 questions with 3 hours, which means they have reduced the number of questions by half and increased the duration to double. Right? So, importance of reasoning cannot be expressed in words. It's really, 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 really important. We need to reason out what we see, what we hear, what we speak, what we write, what we read, everything that we do, we need to reason. And when we reason, we will be able to increase our knowledge base and we will understand the hidden agenda. Let me, at this juncture, share with you a scenario or an example which I myself have undergone. At one of the personal interviews, the question that was asked to me was, for how long have you used the word define? I was taken back when I was silent for probably a few seconds. And the interviewer prompted and asked, can we say at least 5 years? At least 10 years? I said, yeah, at least, definitely at least 5 years. For 5 years, I've definitely used the word define. And the next question that came from the interviewer was, define definition. This took me off guard. Thinking. If you look at Universal Dictionary of English, you find that it states a true, tested, and valid statement which is used for further development of subject matter is called as definition. A true, tested, and valid statement is a meaning of a word. So every definition is a meaning. Every meaning need not be a definition. If anyone comes and says, what do you mean by desk? Yeah, we can say. But if somebody says, define a desk, it is absurd. We cannot define a desk because it is not used for any development of subject matter. Take another example. If somebody says, or somebody asks you the question, what do you mean by force? Though correct, it does not show the professionalism. The more appropriate way of asking would be, define force. Why? Because the meaning gives rise to further development of subject matter. Understanding of force gives rise to a new branch of physics. Right? So, now let us just recap the sequence of the question that was asked in the interview, in that particular interview. The first question was, for how long have you used the word define? Then the next was a prompting to say, have you used it for at least 5 years? And then the question comes, what do you mean by definition? Is the interviewer in this context trying to test whether the candidate has by-hearted the dictionary? No, definitely not. There is a very subtle message that's being communicated over there. You have used something for 5 years without understanding what it means. So you better understand where you stand. If this IIM does not finally shortlist you, then it does not mean that we have been unfair. We have already shown you why. Hope this has given you enough amount of food for thought as to why reasoning is important. The next slide. Now, if anyone says it is difficult to crack CAT, it's a myth. I wouldn't buy into that. Why so? We have already seen As far as quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, and data sufficiency are concerned, it's only up to 10th standard mathematics. Logical reasoning, common sense, which all of us have, and vocabulary, grammar, and reading comprehension is all about English. This is a language that we have studied. So it should not be difficult, and it is not difficult to crack CAT exam. People who say that it is difficult to crack CAT are the people who cite a certain data point. They say, no, reason is hardly 1 or at the max 2 in 100 get into good B schools. That is why it is difficult. But please understand, you are considering that percentage from the entire set of people who are attempting the CAT exam. Again, from experience, I can tell you 85% of the people who attempt CAT exam are not people who are serious. It could be because of parental pressure, it could be because of peer pressure, it could be because of some prestige issue. It could be just to provide an answer to the society as to what are you doing? I'm preparing for CAT. No. Only 15% of the people are the people who are serious. So, if you say it is 1 in 100 or 2 in 100, I will not buy into that. It is actually 1 in 15 or 2 in 15 people. Hope this has given some amount of solace to people who are seriously thinking about cracking CAT exam. And your one-stop shop to prepare is Unacademy. Let me go to our next slide to also give you some more food for thought about reasoning and importance of reasoning. One of the common questions that I get from students is the amount of time that is given for us in the exam is a very big constraint. But that is wrong. Why? Because the amount of time is not a constraint. The ability to use our brain at the optimum level for the entire duration of the exam is a constraint. What do I mean by that? If you have given CAT exam seriously, or if you have given the mock exams, mock CAT exams or catalysts seriously, you would understand that there will be a time when you are attempting the exam in the exam hall, when you are solving the questions and when you are just answering. At one point of time, you may get a thought, ye CAT exam baad mein jaye. I just want to get out of this room. To hell with CAT, I just want to walk out. Why? Because the ability to use the brain at that optimum level is not there. We have not seasoned our brain to work at that optimum level continuously for a period of 3 hours. So exam duration is not a constraint. If we use the brain at optimum level for the entire duration of 3 hours, which requires huge amount of practice, absolute percentage score can be 100%. Again, this type of holistic view of looking at a problem comes when we improve our reasoning capacity. Let me give you another scenario for reasoning. A common, one of the conversations that I have had with one of the IIM professors was just casually we were discussing, and it just came up in the conversation that a cup of coffee at a roadside shop, a small shop, may may cost maybe 7 rupees or 10 rupees. Whereas, let us say similar quality at similar quantity of coffee at a wash store like maybe Barista or Coffee Day would cost me 50 rupees. Why is it that Coffee Day or Barista has priced it at that level? Immediate answers would be for the ambience, for the rent that they need to pay, that is real estate cost. It could be a prestige issue or the brand image, which means it is better to go out and say that I spent my weekend at Coffee Day than by stating that I spent my time at some roadside coffee shop. But put a weightage to all of these. Even after you put the weightage, is that price justified? I mean, it is 5 times more, or rather, it is 5 times of the value, 400% more. It is not justified. How much our weightage you put, 400% more, is not justified at all. Then, what is the answer? The answer to that question is very simple. If we reason better, it is because people are ready to pay that much. This is also called as value based pricing, not cost plus pricing. So, more and more you start reasoning out what you see, what you hear, what you listen, what you speak, you will be able to do wonders. So, to improve, you'll have to practice consciously reasoning. Now, all of us have to want to give our best in the exam. That means we want to peg our preparation at 100%. We want to be 100% prepared to the best of our ability. What makes up this 100%? Let us look at it. If you attend all the classes, that is the live classes, batch classes, you watch the videos provided by all the educators, the recorded sessions, how much does it contribute to that 100%? 15%. It's all it contributes. Now you may be thinking, what more can I do? Let us say you practice at home. Every day you have a disciplined routine. Every day, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yes, I want to prepare. I will sit and prepare for the exam. How much does it contribute? 10%. See, these numbers are important. Okay. Even that 15% and this 10% is important. Do not get me wrong. I'm just giving you a break. Okay, this makes up 25%. What more can be done? Let us say you attempt every mock exam, the catalysts on Unacademy. How much does it contribute to? 15% if you attempt it seriously. Let us say you analyze the performance in every exam. Understand, analysis is extremely important. If you spend 1 minute in the exam hall, you need to spend 4 minutes to analyze, because SWOT analysis is not that simple. Understanding the strengths, weaknesses is not that very easy. Of course, the platform provides you certain amount of data, quantitative data, but how you interpret the data and your inference is dependent on you, your capacity to reason again. So if you analyze, that contributes another 15%. So how much have we come up with? 55%. We have done whatever is possible, right? What more can be done? Where is that remaining 45%? It is all about reasoning. Why have I put this picture over here? Most of us would have bought the vegetables, let's say tomatoes, from street side vendors, cart sellers, people who sell the vegetables on the cart. We would have bought. Can we ever say that we will buy exactly 1 kilo of onion, exactly 1 kilo of tomato? No. It will be 1 kilo, 20 grams, 1 kilo, 30 grams, 1 kilo, 50 grams. Is the price of tomato a constant? No, it changes every day. If it's a busy area, you can observe this. In the time that you take to calculate how much you need to pay the vendor, within that time, that vegetable vendor would have done 3 such calculations and would have told 3 such customers as to this is how much you need to pay, this is how much you need to pay, and this is how much you need to pay. How is it that that person is able to calculate so quickly without using a calculator? Common answer is practice. No. I mean, if the price of onion or tomato was a constant, then yes, makes sense. But no, that is not a constant. So practice is not there. Then what else can be the answer? I am not belittling those people, but we think that we are in a slightly better position and little bit more equipped. But how is it that the vegetable vendor is able to calculate so very quickly? If we think again deeply, we understand that that person, that vegetable seller, knows that if he is not that very quick, he will not have food for night. That hunger is what makes him do the calculation so quickly. If you are hungry, you don't need a teacher. You will automatically come up with ways in which you can improve, so that 45% comes by reasoning. How can I improve my calculation? This is again some other questions that I keep on getting. Okay, all of us have bought things from supermarkets. Sometimes you would see certain finicky customers who go to the billing counter, and at the billing counter, after the billing has been done, they start checking. Okay, 2 boxes of Colgate, yes I have. 2 kilos of tur dal, yes I have. They forget that there are 10 people standing behind them in the queue, and they are not satisfied with just that much. After that, they start checking the discounts. Has the discount been provided correctly? Then they don't trust the system. They start adding. Now, all of this could have been avoided because whenever you buy things, you know what is the price. The price tag has already been put over there. The discount offered is already put. You do your calculations. By the time you are at the billing counter, if you are confident with your math, if you are confident with your calculation, you know that what is the amount that needs to be paid. And if the bill reflects anything other than whatever you have stated, you can tell the person who is at the billing counter that there is some problem over here, you look at it. But for that, we need to be confident with our math. Now this small example helps us in improving our calculations. At the same time, it saves us time, it saves the time for others as well. So that is again a food for thought, that if we reason, we will be able to do wonders. Hope you enjoyed the session and hope you got enough amount of knowledge. At the end, let me just share two things, 2 points that you need to take away. Reason everything and stay hungry for knowledge. Thank you. Before that, before I end the session, let me also give you the benefits of you subscribing to Unacademy. What you get when you subscribe. When you subscribe to Unacademy, you get access to daily live classes wherein you can engage in the discussions, ask your doubts, answer the polls, chat with the educator, very similar to what happens in a classroom method of teaching. And the course is taught in a structured way. With just one subscription, you get unlimited access to all the sessions that are being recorded and also live sessions on Unacademy platform. So you get access to all the educators and all the live classes. You can also watch batch courses at your convenience. Batch courses are the courses which are very much structured and taught by a set of educators which complete the entire syllabus for CAT exam. If you are a person whose prime time is very early in the morning or late in the evening, you don't have to worry. Unacademy gives you the advantage of being able to provide the schedule that works for you. Language is not a barrier. You can learn anytime, anywhere. You can interact with your educator. You can get your doubts cleared. You can answer the live polls, the live tests and quizzes. And as stated earlier, you get a detailed report and analysis for every test that you attempt, which helps you do your own study and analysis to improve yourself in the next test that you would be providing on the platform. You have access to learning material and the PDFs. All of this comes at a very, very reasonable fee. If you look at, you will see that a 24-month subscription comes at a fee of 21,000 rupees. If you use the code APUS while subscribing, please understand, if you use the code APUS while subscribing, you get a 10% discount, which effectively makes your subscription fee as just 18,900 rupees. Now, I'm a person who reasons. So, let me give you a reason as to why it is beneficial to go with a 24-month subscription as compared to any of the other options that you have. If you look at a 12-month subscription, the 12-month subscription costs you 15,750 rupees. Add just 1 month subscription fee to it, that is 3,150 rupees. Just add that 3,150 rupees to 15,750. You get a subscription for 24 months, which is extremely beneficial and a value for money. Hope to see you soon. Hope you enjoyed the sessions. Do subscribe, and a strong recommendation to subscribe for a 24-month subscription, which would effectively give you a discount of 75% as compared to a 1 month subscription. So effective percentage of discount is 75%. Do not forget the code APUS. Do not forget this code APUS while subscribing, so that you get a 10% discount on your subscription fee. Hope to see you soon. Here is Arjun Prasad signing off. Thank you.